And we are live.
Another day, another thought, Roald. How are you
Another
doing?
day. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Really excited about this show, man. First show, first episode.
I want to welcome everyone to the Double Thought Show. We want to thank you for watching live and also watching the rebroadcast. Um, yeah, already struggle streaming as usual, as Kian always says. Uh, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this stream, this the topics we're going to talk about. Just remember to follow us, subscribe to the YouTube and all the socials. And before we proceed, I want to uh, say a disclaimer about the stories we're going to talk about. We are not financial advisors. The purpose of the show is purely to provide entertainment and to share thoughts, opinions with our followers, um, for everyone for personal advice, let's say it that way. Um, we urge you to seek out advice from a professional that is tailored towards your situation. With that being said, let's go to the topics. What do you have for me today, man?
Yeah, let's go to the topics. Well, Kurt, we have a very interesting topic today. I
Tell
think
me,
it's
tell me.
a cool topic to start our first show with, the pilot. It's about money. It's about maybe fast money. It's an interesting story. And
You gonna tell me something about the crypto or something? Tell me.
well, I'm not the crypto guy yet. I am interested
Okay,
in it, but maybe a topic for a next show. Maybe for next show.
okay.
But this one is actually I pulled a article from the Business Insider Netherlands that really caught my interest. It's you pull it up. As you said, struggle streaming already.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting article that caught my attention. College student cashed out 110 million profit on
Yeesh.
Bath and Beyond after piling 25 million into the meme stock.
Yeah, I've seen this
So
one.
this was a pretty interesting, just by the title itself. It was a very interesting topic, and I mean, the first thing that I have to say right off the bat is when I started reading the article, I came to the conclusion that it was a bit clickbaitish. So it was
It's
very,
Business Insider, man. It's Business Insider.
it was a bit clickbaitish. So let's see if you can see why I think it's a bit clickbaitish. But as you can see, maybe I should expand it a little.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Just the first three bullets. A college student apparently made 100 million profit on Bad Bath and Beyond stocks this week. This was actually an article of August, so it's less than a month old, maybe 3 weeks old. And basically, you're a stock guy. You're the stock guy, so I had to look a couple of things up.
Well,
But basically, this guy, this student by the name who goes by the name of Jake Freeman, apparently had 6.2% stake in the in the company. I think that's a lot of money for a student. I don't know about you, Kurt. I don't know about your portfolio, but
I got something. I got some link, but I ain't got no 25.
yeah. So that was a bit
Is it his
odd.
own money or is it his own money or?
Well, apparently, so from this article, he apparently raised 25 mil. I don't know if you have that kind of friends. He raised it from friends and family, actually. So
Okay, maybe I need to go to my mom and dad, see if they have something laying out. Maybe they
Yeah,
got 30, and I don't know if they're gonna give it to me, but
yeah. Let's see. Yeah, but
sheesh.
yeah. So it's very interesting. That was pretty interesting in itself, I must say.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you read the third bullet, bad, Bath and Beyond, it was basically the latest meme stock to
Yes.
skyrocket.
Yes.
And I had to look up what meme stock is, what the definition is. So a meme stock is, maybe you can put it out, read it out, and you can put it in your own words. But
Yeah.
it's basically a stock, if I'm not mistaken, that has a lot of hype behind it. But it's basically inflated hype, so that people go to perhaps newspaper or on various platforms on the internet and hype it up. Would you say that that's a correct assessment?
Well, meme stock usually so the meme stock started. It's a name they created basically because it's a lot of times. Well, the first one was driven by Wall Street Bets. It's a Reddit account, a Reddit group, and I don't know if you remember AMC. You might have heard of that
I've
stocks,
heard of it,
short
but yeah,
squeeze.
yeah.
So a couple, I think early 2021. I think there was. I think it's 2021. Yeah, it was during Corona time. People had money laying around and they wanted to play with it, and what they did was everyone piled on. They were on the Wall Street Bets, and everyone wanted to squeeze a couple of hedge funds out of their money. There were a couple of hedge funds that had a couple of shorted the stock. I think
Mhm.
one of them is Melvin Capital, if I'm not mistaken. I do know that. I do remember, if I'm not correctly, they lost a lot of money on that.
Okay.
But anyway, um, basically, it's a group of people. A lot of people basically do the opposite from what the hedge funds do. Usually, a lot of times, hedge funds just short stocks, and then they squeeze them out. So basically, they keep holding, buying and holding the stock until it rises to an abnormal position for the stock itself. So let's say, for example, I think AMC was about $5 when it they or $10 something like that, and it went to 150. Melvin, I think Melvin lost about $2 billion on that.
Mm,
Yeah. Let me see first. Let me search it up real quick.
$2 billion.
I think it was 2 billion. Let me look it up real quick for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And
they
in the mean,
basically. Oh, continue.
yeah, I was gonna say in the meantime, I see that we have a couple of viewers. Welcome to all the viewers. The first thing we have to say is we really appreciate that you made time to basically watch this in real time. And of course, we invite you to like and drop a comment. We are planning on doing this. We haven't really decided how often yet, but the purpose of the show is for it to be an interactive show. And yeah, we really hope that this. We are very excited ourselves about the concept, and we hope you guys are excited and enjoy it too. Did you find it out? Did you find out
Yes.
what amount
So,
is?
so, so based on the whole scheme, everyone, so all the investors, according to Morgan Stanley, all short sellers lost 6 billion,
Mm.
and Melvin Capital was one of the leading ones. They lost about 2.75 on this one. So
Okay, they took the big L.
they took the real big L on this. So
Royal,
basically,
yeah.
in this case, it's the same with bet BBB.
Mm-hmm.
People basically started to long it, and There were, I think, a couple of players in it, maybe, and basically, three people try to squeeze other people out. But
Yeah,
that's basically a meme stock in a
but
sense.
before we continue on the talking about the two big players, I want to just talk a little about the student because we joked about it, but and that's what I found a bit clickbaitish of it, of course, because the article says that it's a student. So when I read it the first time, I read 25. In my mind, it was $25 or maybe $25,000 at the most, but 25 million, even if you raise it uh, with support of family and friends, that's a lot of money. So that's what I think it's a bit clickbaitish. I think this guy is an investor that perhaps also that is also a student. He moonlights as a student. I don't know.
Yeah, you have a lot of these guys these days that moonlight. That's a student.
Yeah. So
But yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know any 25-year-olds that have 20 that can raise 25 million. Is he 25 years old? 21,
I don't know
maybe
his age actually. He
20 years
started
old.
in. Okay. Okay.
I think the pic in the picture you in the article you showed it said 20 years old, I think. So I don't know a lot of 20 years old that even can raise 100,000. So he's probably moonlighting as a student, and he had already um, yeah raised that
Allegedly.
money from friends and family, and was already investing, and might have let's say analyzed a meme stock. I don't know how he got behind it. Seems
Yeah.
like a wonderful find. Let's put it that way. If
It's a
you can
good
invest,
find. It's
if
a
you
well.
if you
It
if you can invest 25 million on a bet, because it's basically, so there are, you can analyze stuff, but when you do meme stock, it's basically a bet.
it's a bet. Yeah.
It's
It's a bet.
and yeah, putting 25
But
million in a bet. I don't know if students will even
well, well.
have the balls to do that, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's continue because
yeah.
it gets more it gets a bit more interesting after this. But heads up to the just to close it. Heads up to Business Insider for the good catchy article for sure.
What
So
made you click on it?
yeah. So let's continue. If you look at the story, it also says that so Jake Freeman was the name of the student. He had 6.2% of the company, and and this was on July 21st.
Yeah.
The prices then were $6 per share,
Hmm.
and at on the 16th of August, if I'm not mistaken, it was they went from $6 to $20, over $20 per share in that period.
From July the 21st to
August 16th. So
16.
in less than a month. In less
Mm,
than a month. Yeah.
yeah.
So and he says that he initially he thought he intended for it to be a 6 month play. So he intended to wait for 6 months before he took out the money, but he took out everything on the 16th.
And what kind of
And
6 months is that?
what did you say?
What kind of 6 months is that?
I don't
But okay,
know.
continue.
That's
Continue.
his story, and he's probably sticking to it, man. But the funny thing about that is, or maybe the ironic thing, I must say, that the following day the stocks dropped with 19%,
Yeah.
and this was
Did he say,
after. What did you say?
no? Does the article say how much did he sold everything on that day?
Let me check. If I'm not mistaken, he sold all his shares
On one day. In one
on
day.
one day. Yes, yes.
Ah, okay, yeah. Then
Think
he
he
might have.
sold all his shares. Yes, he sold his entire position on
In one.
Tuesday. And I mean, I don't know about, again, if you're investing and you see things are popping off, you might take something out, but you don't take everything out. Or maybe he had a bigger play. I don't know, but
If you take F, so he had 6.2% of the company shares. If you sell 6.2 in one shot, you're gonna crash it. At
yeah,
least it's gonna take a hit because people will panic and start selling as crazy.
yeah,
Usually,
yeah. But according
six
to
point two
the
percent. It's a lot actually. If he had 6.2%, that would mean that he's also probably a one of the major private owners.
I think so, because the major uh, shareholder, who is, if I'm not mistaken, the CEO of GameStop, Cohen, he
Mm.
has
Is
12%.
he CEO? Is
So
he
six. I thought I thought he's the
or
chairman.
chair? Yeah,
He's the chairman, yeah, of GameStop,
twelve
and
percent. Yeah,
he,
12%.
yeah, 12% position. So 6.2 is a lot. I mean,
You're
we're
at
talking
least in the top
about,
10. You're at least in the top 10.
he's a, he's in the top 10 for sure. But the reason why the shares dropped the following day was because word got out, and maybe that's according to a report. It's not word got out, but I'm trying to pull a Business Insider article here. But he disclosed himself that he was planning on selling his position in its entirety. So uh, Cohen also was wanted, and I think he also did sell his position. Uh, if I look at another article I read that he sold it. That to me is not clear. But um, do you know if he sold it for sure?
I think he probably did. I mean, if one of the top 10 sells everything at one time, if I own 12% of a company, and it's let's call it, for lack of a better word, a meme stock,
Yeah,
you might have to cash in at that moment because it might never go up again.
yeah,
If the financials of the company, I don't know the financials of the BBB, but uh, probably it's not as good if it's $6 before that.
no,
So
I don't think so.
cash
Uh,
in. Why you
but
can?
also, I looked at the the reason, so the argument, because stocks is a speculation game, right? So it's not the
Anticipation.
someone doesn't need to necessarily take out the all his shares for the shares to drop if there's word on the street, or if there are indications that internal or external changes might influence the value of the company and of the shares. uh, that would be
Yes,
enough for people to either sell or buy stocks in a company.
yeah, stocks is very emotional, even though it's a lot of people do very emotional selling and buying a lot of times. So when people hear, for example, that a great CEO is going to take over the company, they might just buy it without even knowing what the plans are. And if they hear that, they might not. So this is if they hear. I'm talking about after the reporting, because if they hear before, it becomes insider trading,
Yeah,
basically. I think so.
that's punishable by law as well.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
So if the articles are released that they might not hit the goals, the targets, that may also lead to a small sale, depending on how much trust they have in the company to reach it the next quarter. So yeah, it's It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Well, they sold a lot of shares. If Cohen also sold his shares, it's about 18%, almost
Yeah, if they both, yeah.
one fifth
I
of the
mean,
company share, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna plummet. It's gonna plummet if everyone puts their share up.
Yeah. So I think it's very interesting. And there are a lot of other cases as well where of similar, let's say, white collar, alleged, alleged
Yeah,
white collar
yeah,
crime.
allegedly, yeah.
You have to drop the
Well,
alleged in there.
oh well, well, the
The,
others, if they are convicted, is not alleged anymore.
yeah. Well, there
This
are there are confirmed. And with confirmed, I mean
this
there's a
one is still
verdict.
alleged. If there
This
is
one is
a
definitely alleged. This one is
okay,
definitely alleged. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but the interesting thing is that this occurred in August of
yeah,
this year.
yeah,
So you would think that this is an interesting story on itself, right? But
yeah.
sometimes when they say where there's smoke, there is alleged fire, allegedly. Well, if this was a
Or
movie,
someone is just smoking a
if this was a
cigar.
movie, if this was a movie, it would be a very interesting one. I mean, there's a plot, and it unfortunately, we also must say that it does involve, yeah, a very tragic incident. But this incident at the same time makes you think, makes you wonder, what when is enough with regards to money? Because I think that a lot of people, when you start, I mean, you work hard, you build your portfolio, you have different streams of income, and yeah, sometimes when you hear certain stories, you're like shocked. Why you might think to yourself, why would someone do something like this? And yeah, it just makes you wonder. So we're gonna talk about that. But first, I want to again thank everyone that is watching the live stream and or following, watching the replay. We really appreciate your support. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You know, if you have friends, share it as well with your friends. As I said, we are very excited about the show. We have a very interesting concept in our opinion, but we also want to involve our viewers and our followers to, and we encourage them to, and we encourage you all to, support, but also give feedback. Also tell us what you want to hear us talk about more. But basically, we will be analyzing interesting stories uh, on this channel about financial, economical, social, political subjects, but in a very
Business.
entertaining way. Business, but not giving advice, as we already mentioned in the disclaimer. Just analyzing and yeah, exchange opinion. And the show is called Double Thought for a reason. We have two people, and we both have thoughts. So, with
At
that,
least I hope. At least I hope.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
so let's continue. Good. Let's continue. Let's continue. Because as I
You,
already mentioned,
yeah, you said there was a twist. Tell me about the twist.
yeah.
The alleged
So
twist.
the alleged twist. Well, there's a part that is not alleged, and there are other parts that might be speculation.
Okay.
But either way, it doesn't take away from the from the discussion of today, right? But what happened was, I think it was a week ago, there was news in all the major newspapers that the now former CFO of the company, Bad Bath and Beyond, basically deleted himself from the face of the earth. And this was shocking to a lot of people, but it also happened in light of or in the midst of a lot of turmoil that the company was facing. Basically, the CFO, according to sources, he had various meetings with high ranking members or high ranking how do you say officials of the company,
Okay.
where they exposed or disclosed, I must say, their plans to close certain stores. They
Mm,
also wanted to, I'm gonna pull this article from Fortune, which is an article of September 4th,
pump
where
and
they also disclosed that they would need to let go of, I think, 20% of the employees. And
workforce.
there are about 32,000 employees. So it's safe to say that the company was facing turmoil, very difficult position. And at first, you would think the first thought that came to my mind was, yeah, maybe, the stress, it was too much. And yeah, he perhaps had the, perhaps he thought that, yeah, he couldn't take it anymore. With things like this, sometimes you don't know internally what's going on with a person, right?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. There's a lot of pressure when you're in that position. Of course, if you're CFO, people look at you to have the finances right, so you can, of course, pay the employees. I think, and but yeah,
It's tough.
it's tough. It's tough.
However,
Tell me,
there is an however.
there's another, however.
Yes, according to a New York Times article of the same date, September 4th, about a couple of days prior, there was a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit, actually, I must say, that was initiated in front of the court in the District of Columbia, alleging, alleging, that's the word again,
Yeah,
but alleging that the former CFO who deleted himself might have been involved in a pump and dump scheme.
he's
Your
also in it.
thoughts? Your thoughts?
That's kind of crazy, though. As a CFO, if you a lot of times when people pump and dump skid, it always has consequences for the company because they will lose money, etc., and they might have to. I mean, probably BBB was already in a bad state, and with this, it might have tilted it over the edge.
Yeah.
And
So maybe before we continue, just talk about the concept of pumping and dumping.
yeah,
I have an article in the financial sector. I have an article, not an article, just I always look at Investopedia to see, what information I can find on this subject. And again, from what I understand, it's when you, so we talked about the memes, we talked about meme stocks, which
yeah,
were, which was basically just hyping up a stock
Yeah, group a
But
group basically a group putting money together, everyone doing the same thing,
okay,
buying
but
it
then
up. It's like a bubble, basically creating a bubble.
would it be fair to say that the pump and dump scheme is
That's the next step
that's the
in there.
next step? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like you
basic.
pump it up, and that's with your body.
That's a so you pump it up to increase the value and then take
Then you
out,
sell it. Yeah,
then
you
you
sell it.
sell it, leaving the rest
The ones who
with
buy
loss.
basically in the decline, they're gonna lose definitely. So basically, you buy, you hold, or you hold, as as they say in the Wall Street bet streets, and then you sell it off, and people will buy it in the hopes they will continue. It will continue rising, but uh, if you sell off enough simultaneously, there's basically you dump everything. Um, it's um, it's not beneficial for the ones who's buying. That's for sure. You're gonna get you gotta get a shell of the money you fork out.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because when you look, but it's also in crypto, you see it more heavily because everything is crypto is more volatile and very hyped up. And you see a lot of news like people will say, oh, this currency is currently increasing in its value and I put money in it, but it's very speculative. But when you hear stories like this, like, and the interesting thing is that we talked about Cohen, right? The
The
chairman
game
of GameStop,
that is
who
crazy
holds.
because he has also another meme stock. Well, he's involved with another meme stock. So he's a meme stock guy.
He's a okay, so he's a meme
No,
stop
no, no.
guy.
But he's
Didn't
because he's in GameStop. GameStop was
Yeah,
also
GameStop was, yeah. I thought
so
another
now
one.
he's also involved. AMC was also one, but
Yeah,
GameStop was kind of one of the first ones, I think. And now he's also involved in this one, so he might be really
it's a
he might
bit
be a meme
fishy.
stock guy. Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah. He
bit
might be a
fishy for
meme stock
sure.
guy.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's but what do you think? Because if you're so this is my question. First, a remark, because this is what I just want to finish my thought. So you see people investing, and you have the, let's say, for long-term investors, people that just put money in the stock market and let it grow. But and you have
Yeah,
people that invest. You have day traders, and you have people that
they
invest
traded.
like
Yeah,
for shorter period of time, right? But it's interesting to me to see how people will, even if you know that there's a chance that there might be a scheme going on, that people will still risk investing in the company, and some people will invest life savings and things that they can't get back. No, but
yeah.
that's the truth.
That's crazy. But the thing is, this a lot of people think they know something about the investing, and they buy. They hear stuff. They hear, for example, that BBB is Bat and Beyond is rising, so there might be something there, and then they invest in it. And a lot of people don't know. So, for example, you mentioned crypto. Crypto is also one of the so recent, less well known vehicles where people pump and dump. There are allegedly a lot of stories going around of well-known people, let's put it this way, celebrities who promote certain coins, and then people sell off those coins, and basically after those being sold off, they are worth nothing, but people all buy them, and the ones who sold them to, which is basically a pump and dump in a sense, they get the money, and the ones who buy the coins get a coin that's basically worth nothing.
Yeah,
Um, and that's the risk again, um, of investing and putting money and stuff you don't know anything about, or you're not having enough experience to know what you're doing. So you have to always be careful when you're investing. Very careful.
Yeah.
Again, it's your life savings, or the ones of your dad or mom. I hope not, but yeah, people take a lot of risk. People take a lot of risk with money, and it can work out, but it cannot as well.
Can also, yeah. So my question then, so I said at the beginning that there's a there are things that are facts and there are things that are speculation, right?
Hmm.
But for a person, I mean, you might have it, you might be dealing with a lot, working with a lot of pressure, under a lot of pressure, for sure. And but it's a bit interesting to see that if you go back to the student who first of all held 25 million, or at least he bought 62% of the shares for 25 million,
Yeah,
raising money from family members, and then taking it out less than a month later for $110 million profit on the same day, the 16th and
did he
17th.
sold it?
On the 16th and 17th, um, the so from the 16th to the 17th, the 17th is when the stock plummeted, or at least went down with 90%, 19%,
Started dumping it. Yeah.
dumping it. And
Okay.
less than 3 months later, the CFO deleted himself, but I think he also held shares in the company.
Really. And of course, you get your compensation, your comp, as they say.
Do you
This
know by any chance when he took out?
when he took
He
them
has
out.
roughly 50, when he took out roughly 55,000 shares. Do you know roughly when he did that? Can you take a guess?
Let me guess. Right before they start selling everything.
On the 16th and the 17th. On the 16th is when the student took out his money, and on the
And
17th
he,
is
and he
when
took it out.
he
His
took.
part he took
Yeah.
17.
So that was actually why they started the class.
So that kid might have triggered everything as well.
That might be one of the
Imagine.
scenarios.
That might be one of the scenarios.
Might
Usually,
be one of the
someone
scenarios.
triggers but how many shares did he sold off?
The kid sold 62%, 6.2%,
6.2. But the
uh,
CFO,
and
what's his name again?
he owned nearly, so the student owned nearly 5 million shares. The CFO,
Yeah.
I think his name was Gustavo Arnal. I think his name was.
Okay. Okay.
Let me check.
Sounds kind of South American,
Yeah.
or maybe from South American descent. Let's say probably American as well.
So let me just look that up.
55. He sold 55,000.
50 selling.
So basically, he sold off about 1 million worth of stock. A bit more than
Yeah.
1 million
According
at
to
the height.
According to a Forbes article, it was around 1.4 million actually.
So the lawsuit alleges that he was involved in it.
The lawsuit alleges that he's guilty of, yeah, pumping and dumping, and they're linking him
As a
with,
CFO.
and they're linking, yes, as the CFO, and they're linking him with Cohen, allegedly, who is the chairman of
GameStop,
GameStop, who was also involved in
who
another,
also owns. Okay,
yeah,
that's so basically he had only 1 million in the race for this one.
yeah. But he probably had. I mean, he might have
So
had 1 million, but he also had a good
I mean, you sold off. You
salary.
sold off 1 million. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
usually you as a CFO you get like a comp package based every year. So he
on
probably
your,
has more, huh?
based on your performance,
Yeah, performance. Yes.
but he didn't sell. So they don't say he sold everything. They only say he
Mm,
sold 55,000
okay.
shares. That's
Okay.
all they're saying, right? So that
Still
this is,
one or probably a little bit less, but around 1.1.
yeah. So let's see, what do you so let's see what will happen with this case.
Yeah,
I'm interesting. I think it's definitely a case worth following.
I do think it
But
is. Yes.
it's also, what's also interesting is, let's say, the question that comes to mind. I told you, when is enough enough?
When is enough?
Big, when is enough enough? And it's like, what's it called? The bell curve, I think. The bell curve.
Continue. Then I know what you're
I
going
think
to
it's
say.
called a bell curve
Yeah, you have the bell curve. Yeah,
because I
it's good.
was, yeah, it's called a bell curve. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a bell curve basically of, um, let's say, with regards to money,
Mm.
because you have people that don't have money who are okay with it. A lot of people who don't have money are struggling and desire more money.
Yeah.
But then there comes a point where you're comfortable, and maybe even very comfortable. But I'm curious to know,
When is enough?
when is enough enough? So when will someone that, because all the people we are talking about have a lot of money, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying, for the record, I'm not saying that they, I'm not necessarily saying that they shouldn't do what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not someone that says, that is against millionaires or billionaires, uh, especially if they worked hard for their money. And it's also a leverage thing. The harder you work, so at the beginning, it's hard, but
Oh,
then you get momentum, etc. I
yeah.
think 80% 80% of millionaires in the USA, if I'm not mistaken. This is coming from a research done by the Ramsey Solution, so the
All
company
right.
owned by Dave
They
Ramsey.
was.
And I think that 70 something percent of millionaires are self-made,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
like 10 point maybe 10% of the millionaires received maybe a little money from their parents. But the
Mm.
idea that we have, that all millionaires are, let's say, first generation, or they come from
Second generation.
old money,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily true. So I don't knock people off for that, but I do think that when you go so far as to risk your life, because this guy must have
No,
had a family.
not only your life, your reputation, man.
Yeah, your reputation, but this guy
What is your
also,
reputation worth?
let me see about his family,
Probably has a
because,
family as well. Because
yeah, so
let me see. Let
let
me
me
see
see,
if I can find anything about it.
yeah, see if you can find anything about his, maybe a salary too, what
Yeah.
he was earning. But yeah, so when at what point will you risk your reputation, risk involving other people, loved ones, friends, by greed? At
Yeah,
what
this is
point?
if you're doing this as a CFO, maybe he was in financial troubled waters. Maybe
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know
yeah.
his situation. Well, I found the situation. He's married with two daughters.
Mm,
Married with two daughters, so
yeah.
that's
So he has a family.
tough for the family, man. If you
Yeah,
can imagine, you're losing your dad like this.
yeah.
It's it can be very very tough.
And you have to
But yeah,
also look.
it's a good question. How much is your reputation worth? Are you going to risk your reputation for 1 million as a CFO? I see here that he was earning 2.9 million a year, and he has an extensive CV. I see here.
Yeah,
Um, used to work at Procter and Gamble for 20 years. VP as a CFO for India, Middle East, and Africa. CFO for Global Fabrics. Finance Director, Worldwide Finance Planning. Also worked at Walgreens. So he has been in for a while now on high positions, and it's not like he just ran into this position and was kind of trying to hit a lick, as they would say.
yeah.
Um,
So
but
it's
he earned 2.9 million a year.
yeah. But at the same time, I can tell you because, as you know, in my day-to-day life, I'm a lawyer and I also work on bankruptcy cases. And what you always see is that, so both personal and company bankruptcies. And what you often see is that people and companies as well, operate, they often operate on the same level as their earnings or higher.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I can
You
imagine
mean,
that if you were, if you,
you mean the personal finances, right? Or
um,
the
also
company?
also talking about companies, also talking
Okay,
about companies, yeah, also talking about companies.
mm.
Um, it's like the discipline to, let's say, stay humble is not there,
Mm.
and you might think that the I think that people who earn 2.9 million have 2.9 million money problems. So they're probably affiliated to, it's not like they keep doing things that people who earn 290,000 dollars a year do, or maybe $29,000 a year do. So it's like, um, maybe it's that.
Yeah, you buy in new. More, how did Biggie say? More money, more problems.
More money, more problems is what he said. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he said.
So if
Maybe.
you look at him, so the family home is in the middle of New York. So you might have heard the prices of those
It's ridiculous, man.
apartments as well.
Ridiculous,
Ridiculous.
man. Yeah.
Allegedly, it was he lived in a building with apartments worth up to 50 million. So
Hmm.
it's
That's a lot of money. That's
that's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
money.
money.
That's pricey as well. And I think you also have a problem with keeping up with the Joneses. But
That's what you do. Well, that's what you get in
that's
that
what you do.
situation.
Yeah.
Do well, according to your assessment as a
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's also common. I mean, there are a lot of other people I follow, and they talk about the same thing. They talk about, and I know it's. I think my conclusion is that money is Your relationship with money has a lot of things to do with your belief system. And if you constantly feel the need to keep up with the Joneses, yeah, you will always keep having that problem, only on a larger scale, probably. So, but let's get back to it because I pulled up what a bell curve is.
Yes.
I did mean, so this is exactly what I was talking about. So,
Bell curve is a great way to explain everything in life.
in
Well, not
life,
every, a lot of things.
a lot of things. Let's do absolute everything. So,
Well, everything is well. The majority of the things you see, the bell curve also shows the majority of the things will fit within the bell curve, and the outliers are the outside. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. But so I think,
yeah, sorry,
so
continue.
how would you say when will when? Okay, so question to you: if you would have to describe the answer or answer it in a, let's say, answer it in a way that is applicable to different kind of people. So it's not an amount. We can agree that it's not an amount.
No,
But
no, no, no.
when can you say that enough is enough? When how would you explain that?
It's a tough question. When is enough enough? It's um definitely it depends on what you want out of life. It's not an amount basically. It's more like a some people some people sometimes have the drive to to continue developing, improving, and they don't see the money. They see the money more as a tally for the accomplishment rather than like a goal. So it's hard to say when is enough enough. It depends on the person. Some people are happy. I mean, if you look at some people are happy with 50,000 a year. I don't know. It's an amount. I don't know. You said you don't want to talk about specific amounts, but some people are happy with their achievements in life. It's an achievement thing, and some people want to continuously achieve higher and higher. Um, so it's like I'm keep turning I keep turning circles here.
Yeah,
But
but
it's a tough question. It's a very tough question to say when is enough enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
a
I think
very tough question.
that's a tough question, and I think that's, I think there's no answer to that either, and I think it, to me, I think it depends on what your goal in life is, right?
Yeah,
So if, for example, you just want money for the sake of it, then there will never be an ending. But if, for example, you have some life goals, and you say, okay, I want to have money to, let's say, have a, to invest in an apartment, to have passive income, or to invest, to pay for my children's college tuition, those type of things. Then you have like a concrete reason why you do it, and perhaps it can be splurging as well. It can be, for example, to just to travel and either luxuriously or live abroad for a year. It doesn't really matter. But if you have, if you know what you want to do, and I think if you budget it, and let's say it's, let's go crazy for us. Okay. Let's say it's like even 10, just to mention, to say a number, 10 million a year, just to to mention a number.
mm,
But if you have like a budget and you know exactly what that 10,000 is going
10,
towards,
10 million. You said
10 million, yeah, what it's going towards,
that's
then
money, right? You're the bank
yeah,
accountant already, man.
I'm
Already doing our money.
you're the numbers guy. I'm a paper guy. I
Yeah,
look
sorry,
I look
continue.
at contracts. I look I let other people do my no. I don't let other people handle my money either.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but yeah. So if you have like a concrete reason, or you have a budget and you have a purpose for every dollar amount, then it's
But
you
you
you have a purpose. But if you don't, if you're just earning money for the sake of it, then that becomes a problem. Is what I think.
so let's look at it from a different angle. If my goal is to, so let's say my goal in this scenario, my goal is to create a successful company.
Yeah.
A successful company can earn you 5 million the first year, or not the first year, of course. That's bullshit what I'm saying. But let's say in the fourth or fifth year, you have a profit of maybe 1 million, and it keeps becoming more and more um, successful as a company. At a certain point, you're earning 5 million a year. You have to move that money around. So what do you think? I'm gonna create another successful company, or I'm gonna invest in another successful company, and that turns into um, 10 million a year within a couple of years. So basically, you're not chasing the money; you're chasing the achievement. And then you gotta ask yourself, sometimes maybe it's not a money thing. Is money,
Hmm.
what money amount is enough? Some people don't. That's not their drive. Their drive is to basically achieve, to be better every day, to improve, to be a better manager, to become a better investor. And the money is just a nice thing to have. You can buy toys with it. So it's a lot of times it's not about. Some people chase money. That is true. According to a lot of rappers, is that's what you have to chase, money.
You're right. You're right.
Right? You chase the money, you get the chains. I don't know, but sometimes when you're doing business, you're not chasing the money. You're chasing
The
the
goals.
the goal of your company to for it to become better, to improve, and to continuously. Um, because don't forget about it. We're talking about a company, but also talking about the people who's working for the company. So you also have um, a responsibility to the people who's working for you. You cannot think I'm gonna chase the money, because if you're gonna chase the money, you might put the company in risky situations. You might make risky choice if you're chasing the money. You're making risky choice not for yourself but also for the company and for the people who's working for your company. Basically, the families who are um,
Yeah.
work.
Every stakeholder basically.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's a tough thing, and to bring it back to the topic, maybe the CFO was chasing the money rather than chasing achievements. Allegedly, I don't know.
Maybe.
We will have to see what comes out of this case,
Yeah.
but a lot of
Yeah.
times, yeah, you're chasing. It's hard to say an amount. When is an amount enough? It's like you said, you leverage. At a certain point, you start leveraging. So you have 10 million coming every year. Are you gonna sit on a 10 million? Of course not. You're gonna leverage it to buy other stuff, and it's
Yeah.
also to 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 um to protect your money. That's why you're investing in other stuff, and it happens to be, if you're a good investor, oh, that 10 million will turn into 20 million real quick,
Yeah.
and that keeps piling up. And then you have to also find a way to stash or invest that 20 million. So you keep leveraging to a point that before you know it, you're sitting on a yacht that's worth 200 million next to Bezos.
And that, well, I think that you make a very good point actually. And but maybe you say maybe he was chasing the money, or but maybe he was Yeah, we don't know with things like this.
A lot
The
of
thing
times,
is also, the thing is also, sometimes, um, and that's why I think I'm a heavy proponent of doing things in an ethical way. Heavy proponent, because sometimes people have something over you. Not saying that this is the case in this situation particularly, but sometimes we are so eager to have to get a promotion or a position that we forget that you would owe someone, and that there will come a time for you to repay. And sometimes I think that that also might be a reason for someone who is, because he was brought in 2020, I believe, to help with certain challenges of the company.
mm,
He
yep,
has a pretty legitimate.
that's not long. That's not a long time at the company
No,
for it to turn from sugar to doo doo like this.
I guess, I guess. But to continue, and maybe just we can round this topic,
Yep.
to finalize this topic. Maybe the final thoughts, but with regard to the story itself, we would just need to wait and see what happens.
Yep.
There are other stories that came out as well, allegedly about a BLM, high a high. I don't know if it was the chairman or who it was, but
Another.
yeah, maybe we can talk about that next time.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about it next.
But it's
Sounds like
also,
an interesting. Sounds like an interesting topic because it, BLM has had a very bad name the last, let's say, 2 years, based on the finances or how the finances are moving, um, or the finances are not being um, used correctly according to the sources. I think um, it's a very interesting topic to discuss. Maybe to expand more further on it.
yeah, because I think before we talk, I think that's good as well. Before we talk about some, let's say, topic like this, it's good for to do just, we're not experts, and but it's good to do like a little bit of research at least, to
I
to
want to talk crazy about BLM.
yeah, and just to also, but just also to give a full, um let's say, as complete as possible story. Not just because when you look at certain, like, just get sources from, or you use sources from just one uh, news source, then, or information from one source, then you have to also take into account that that source might be biased. So it's good to have it like a complete,
Complete
as
view of the.
if you. But I have to say that if this is true, then I would find this, I would find it even more grave than the BBNB that we discussed today, because the BLM is a movement that's supposed to
Stand for something.
stand for something, and for you to, if it is true
Well, the
that they
previous one
used,
were so
be,
this one I don't know. I don't know the story yet, but the previous one were confirmed even by the
is that the one
people in
who
charge.
bought the house, the mansion?
Yeah, they bought houses. They bought
Yeah,
houses with I think number of houses, 3 or 4 houses, and in one of them the founder is living in or something like that. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
they have houses where they organize get-togethers, or I think probably people are working from them as well. People are living in them as well. So it's Those are not alleged because they have been confirmed.
Yeah, that one I read about, but that one is a story of 2 years, maybe a year ago, 2 year ago, 2 years ago,
Year ago, yeah.
a year ago. Yeah,
I think it's better to put one show together to discuss this, to go more deep into it, because it's very interesting to see how money moves within a charity like BLM, and how they spend the money that people give to them, or donate to them, um, in hopes that they can make changes. And it seems to be
let's see.
that there's only one thing is changing.
Let's see.
Yep.
Well, just your maybe your final thoughts of the
Of the
of
BBB,
today's.
I think. So my final thought on BBB is basically, I would say that people have to be, when you're doing something, try to keep, and it's far too early to say what happened really happened, because it's still they're still researching the situation, but um, integrity, like you said, is very important, and um, selling your metaphorical soul, as they would say, for any amount, or your reputation, putting your reputation on the line. Because I think if it all turns to be true, who knows? That would mean that he basically deleted himself because his reputation is ruined, and he would have to live with it for the rest of his life, and he couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Another thing they always say, I
Some
don't know,
people, sorry to interrupt you, but some people can't
of
handle
course,
jail time either. So
if you cannot do the time, don't do the crime.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If that's the case. Yeah.
If that's the case, who knows? But I mean, you don't delete yourself out of nowhere. So, but anyway, so that's my thought. Try to keep a straight path when you're dealing with things in life. I mean, it's the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
Don't sell your soul,
Don't sell your soul.
or if you
All
sell
right.
one,
No, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there.
let's not go there. Okay.
Uh, no, we're not gonna. Yeah. So I think that this is the pilot. This is the first show. I mean, we can continue talking, but I think this is a good
It's a good
start.
start. It's a good
It's a good
start.
start. We will post as soon as we have the next date, because the intention of today was just to test drive it. We're building the show as we fly,
Yeah.
and we are, yeah, very excited that we have viewers, to put it like that. We're not talking to ourselves, but I think that, not like we will for sure send the next date of our next live. We
Yep.
are only planning to do live. Maybe in the near future we might do some short videos as well. But like we mentioned at the beginning, the purpose of the show is basically to exchange our various thoughts. We're gonna talk about topics that relate to economy, finance, but more, let's say, thought-provoking topics. We just want to share the topic, share our opinion, but also not only amongst ourselves, the two of us, but also we want to know what our viewers and followers think. If you guys have any suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment in the comment section below. this video.
Yep.
And before we go, we have a segment called thought of the day.
Yeah.
And
Random thought of the day. Yeah.
I'm curious to know because that's Kurt's segment, and I have to
Yes.
say that I am. I always like I always tell you, man. Let's just try our best not to get canceled. So, okay. so,
Okay. I'll try. I'll do my best when the random thought
so
to
please,
keep
your
it.
random thought of the day.
So my random thought is inspired by an event that happened yesterday in LA. All I can say is, kids, never try to separate someone who's wearing a cowboy hat from his hard-earned earthly matters. Please don't do that. That sauce might spice up your life, but not in a good way. That's just my thought.
All right. On that note, we thank everyone for your
Yes.
support, and until next time, peace.